We got another loss we got to talk about this offseason. And it's probably the biggest loss on this roster, to be honest. The Barkley loss is the one that got all the media attention. And these both happened.
Underneath the rug.
Yeah, I did to a certain degree. You're 100% right, because Barkley was the bigger name. But Xavier McKinney was definitely much more important to this team, in my own opinion, because he was going to have a longer career after signing this new deal. He plays a more premium position. Not that it's a huge premium position, but it's more premium than running back, which, of course, is just, barely beating kicker and punter at this point in the NFL, it seems. But he's a guy that I played literally every single snap, this past season there. And I'm curious what happened. So it's been reported that the Giants got a call from McKinney to match the offer the Packers gave him. And that, I believe, is true, because I've heard it from a couple of different people. So I'm curious, before he took that offer, what kind of offer did the Giants give him? Did they do the same thing that it sounds like they may have done with Barkley, where they said, just bring us your best offer? Did they give him an offer beforehand? Did they try to re-sign him early? How did the conversation go when they declined to match that offer? Was it like, hey, sorry, we can't afford to pay you this much, but we would pay this much if you'd be willing to give us a little bit of a hometown discount? How was the conversation? Did they try to keep him at that point at all? Because
it might have been one of those pardons where it might have been one of the separations where it was kind of mutual. And that's how I feel like it might pan out. Like, the Giants obviously want McKinney to stay. He's a young, top 5 safety in the league. Right? Top 4, right? That's where he finished?
Yeah, top 5 this past year, but,
yeah,
maybe top 10 prior years, top 15, depending. Happened to be his best year, which is a great time to be a free agent.
Correct. So he gets this great deal from another organization that has a long history in the NFL, that has a great, deal with a lot of the players as well, where it's like, you go to New York, or you look at the media, like, you go to Green Bay, what else do they have out there?
Not much.
Not much. You got the Packers. The Packers isn't just limited to Wisconsin or
that's
the whole area. Like, it's a national team. Like,
it's one of the top 5, franchises in the NFL right now. I hate to say it, but you got the Cowboys, which again, I hate to say it, but it is what it is. They are a national, force as far as their fan base. The Steelers, the Giants, the Packers, and I don't know who else you want to throw in there at Patriots. That point. Probably Patriots, just because of the recent winning, but you can throw in the Bears just as easily as well, even though they're not that good, but they have a huge fan base. The Raiders have a huge fan base,
Yeah.
But they're definitely one of the premier teams out there. But
so, I'm
not sure. One thing you said, though, I'm not so sure the Giants want him back.
Yes. He had the incident, like, bye week, breaks his hand, whatever. People get past that. People make mistakes.
No.
The thing is, but you look at it, like, you finish your, end of your deal, top 5, safety in the league. You're expected to make this much amount of money. And when we had Shane come into this organization, what was his biggest thing? Freeing up cap space, not paying for different positions. So when he wants X amount, X going to give it to you, and Shane says, we want this amount, and we can't come to a mutual decision on, like, how we're going to figure this money out. Like, it may not have been a bad blood saying, like, hey, listen, we can't afford to pay you because we need to clean this up for the team and an organization in general. Like, if you can make that money, make it elsewhere. It could have been one of those pardons.
I feel like the Giants wanted it to look like they wanted McKinney. I don't think they really did, because I just don't think it's a high valued position he plays in the NFL currently, which is weird because it's such a passing league. You would think it's a secondary position, but safety is just not. If for whatever reason, it's really just not. So do you want to spend that kind of money when you're having cap issues? Or do you want to do things like go get a Brian Burns, try to fix the offensive line? We don't get some of those guys if we get
kept McKinney.
But you can make the claim that, okay, maybe we didn't get John Runyon, but we kept McKinney. It's not like it was like getting us 2 or 3 guys. I can see both sides of it. I think it's a risk either way. But like I said, my own personal opinion, I haven't heard anything to this. It's not like I have any inside knowledge as far as this. Just my own opinion. I don't think they wanted him. So I don't think they're going to talk that much about him in the show. I think it's any more like, yeah, we lost him. Now we got to try to replace him. We're going to sign Jalen Mills just to give it a veteran leadership. They'll talk about that real quick, and that's probably it. I think they're going to kind of glance over McKinney because I don't think they want the fans realizing that they really didn't want McKinney. He wasn't like the ultimate fan favorite, but he was a respected player on that team by the fans, especially how he played last year. And Giant fans, we tend to get attached to the good players that we draft because, let's be honest, we don't draft that many that are good.
Few far in between.
Unfortunately, it's sad to say, but true.
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.